and thank you for joining us at the Swell Summit. Our next Swell speaker is Miss Kelsey Dovico. Miss Dovico designs and facilitates substance abuse prevention, socio-emotional learning, and wellness programs for teens and families at the Hazel Park Community Coalition. Last year, she lived and worked among the marginalized Gitano community in Madrid, Spain as a Fulbright scholar. Kelsey holds a bachelor's degree in social psychology from Western Michigan University and is also a certified family life educator and registered yoga teacher. Outside of work, she loves to hike, practice Oriental dance, and listen to lo-fi hip-hop. Without any further ado, here is Miss Kelsey Dovico speaking about navigating mental health challenges during adolescence.
Hey everyone, welcome to the session titled Navigating Mental Health Challenges During Adolescence. My name is Kelsey Dovico and I'll be presenting this session. I want to say a big thank you to the Student Wellness and Leadership Movement for including me in this weekend. Let's get started. As a quick overview of what we'll be talking about today, I'll introduce myself. We'll talk about what mental illness means. I'll share a bit of my story and experience with mental illness in adolescence. And most importantly, I'll be discussing the strategies that help me navigate that time of a lot of crisis and difficulty in my life so that I could graduate school, maintain friendships, and get healthier. After that, we will practice a brief meditation for compassion, and then I'll give you some resources. So as I said, my name is Kelsey Dovico. I'm from Royal Oak, Michigan, which is just north of Detroit. I recently became the executive director for a substance abuse prevention nonprofit organization. So we work primarily with teenagers on topics like substance abuse, teen dating violence, and mental health advocacy. I'm also a yoga and meditation teacher. Some of my hobbies are gardening, doing handicrafts. I love playing team sports. And for about 5 years now, I've been studying Raksharki, which is Egyptian Oriental dance. I am a survivor of lifelong mental health challenges, and I want to be very clear that I am not a mental health professional. So I'm coming from the perspective of someone who has lived, experienced, and walked the path, but I do not have any sort of clinical training in mental health. So let's talk about what mental illness really means. We hear a lot of different, what I would call sort of opinions, some of them informed, some of them not so much, about what mental illness is and what people who live with mental illness are like. So I want to get this very fundamental concept, put it all on the table. So this opening quote is from the American Psychiatric Association, and I'm going to read it verbatim. They define mental illnesses are health conditions involving changes in emotion, thinking, and or behavior. Mental illnesses are associated with distress and or problems functioning in social, school, work, or family activities. So this defines mental illness in the context of a medical model, which is how we understand it in Western cultures. It is a health condition, just like any other health condition. And it's also a common medical condition. Just like we hear, people having diabetes in the United States, it's a pretty large proportion of the population. The number of Americans who live with mental illness is equally high. Here's a statistic which is really telling. 46% of Americans will meet the criteria for a diagnosable mental health condition in their life. And half of those people will develop the conditions by age 14. So according to Mental Health America, about half of Americans will experience difficulties with their mental health at some point in their lives. And about a quarter of Americans will start experiencing those difficulties by age 14. So it's really important that we talk about mental illness. There's some people who think that you can't really have mental illness as a child or as a teen because you're still developing mentally, you're still growing, things like this. But children and teens have emotions, they have body physiology, they have all the things that adults have, and they can experience mental illness as well. Mental illness is very treatable. Even though some or many mental illnesses cannot necessarily be cured, Just like diabetes right now cannot be cured. Effective interventions, people can live with mental illness and still live flourishing and be productive and have happy lives. There are many things that influence our mental health status, and here are some of them. ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences, trauma, chronic stress, factors in our environment, the dynamics of our relationships with our family, family history, genetic predispositions, and many other factors. Just another statistic pointing to the prevalence of this issue: 1 in 5 teens have a mental health condition. I got that from the CDC website. 1/5, that's about 20% of teens. So this is an issue that we all need to at least be educated about. On the next slide, I have a couple of more important statistics to kind of get your mind rolling and think about yourself and where you fall into these numbers. Greater than 50% of students believe their high stress levels don't affect their overall health. If you've been experiencing high stress levels, think about whether or not you recognize the influence on your health of that stress. More than 1 in 10 teens admit that they never set aside time to manage or take care of their stress. Think about your habits in maybe the past month, the past 6 months, the past year. How often do you set time aside in your life to attend to your mental well-being? Almost 1 in 3 teens reported that they believe their stress has gone up and will increase in the coming year. So this statistic points out that 1/3 of teens perceive high stress in their life, or that the stress in their life has increased and it will continue to increase. And lastly, over 25% of teens between 13 and 18 will experience an anxiety disorder at some point in their lives. So this number is specifically about anxiety disorders, which is one aspect of the whole spectrum of diagnosis of mental illness. And that's over a quarter. Anxiety is something that we hear talked a lot about. And a lot of people, especially with this tumultuous year we've had socially, politically, medically, a lot of people are experiencing an increase in the stress that they feel and experience anxiety symptoms. I want to point out the difference between human ups and downs versus mental health conditions. So life can be really hard. And there's a difference between going through a tough time, between temporary high stress levels, and living with a mental health condition. So some aspects to keep in mind about normal fluctuations of mental health. One is that stress is a part of life. And in fact, not all stress is bad. Just like you put stress on a muscle to help develop the tissue, sometimes the stress in our life, when it's mild or moderate and not very long lasting, it helps us build virtues and characteristics that make us better people. Every person experiences emotions, and we as humans are designed to experience the entire spectrum of emotions. So going through a time when you feel sad or angry or upset or, bummed out or frustrated, it's okay to have feelings. And we all go through phases of feeling. That is very human. Just like we go through phases of feeling overjoyed and creative and inspired and energetic. And finally, we are all survivors of something. Life throws us curveballs, and some of those curveballs can be really traumatic. We've all experienced loss, grief, maybe things happening in our community. Certainly, I would argue that we, on a collective level, have experienced a lot of trauma, in our recent and past history. So overcoming trying circumstances is a part of the path of a human being. If you start to notice in yourself or someone else any of these following, that could be an indicator of some mental health conditions popping up for you or that person. So marked changes in mood or behavior, like we said in the definition, that mental health primarily deals with changes in mood and behavior. Difficulties with daily functioning, changes in personal relationships, chronic stress, substance dependence, and especially suicidal ideation or attempt. All of these things are indicators that there's something else going on besides just kind of the ups and downs of normal life. The bottom line is that mental health is something that requires time and attention, just like our physical health. And it's really up to each person individually to attend to our own mental health and to reach out for support when we need it. So, this is a little bit about my personal experience. I actually developed a mental illness disorder when I was age 5. I was not diagnosed with a mental illness disorder until 17. So, that is pretty much all of my time in public school um, and, very formative years in my life. It would have really changed my life in a significant way if I had been diagnosed earlier. But right now, and because mental illness can be very hard to identify for some people, many people live with mental illness and do not have a diagnosis or even a correct diagnosis. Starting in middle school, like around 7th grade, things started to get really difficult for me. And that just became um, increasingly intense as I progressed through the end of middle school and into high school. I started having really difficult, persistent changes in my emotions. I was feeling lots of panic and anxiety, even when there were no stressors in my life. Major or moderate stressors that would, elicit kind of a normal anxiety reaction. I started to withdraw. I started to hoard food and binge eat and keep that a secret. I started a form of self harm. I didn't really tell anybody what was going on. I was having a lot of panic attacks, and I did not know that's what they were. I didn't have that terminology or understanding. And by the time I was in 12th grade, I was in really bad shape. And that was the first time that, we as a family recognized that I needed a higher level of support than what I was getting. And in 12th grade, it was a very difficult year. I'm always jealous of people who have like an amazing senior year because I did not have that at all. I missed almost 40 days of school because of the symptoms that I was experiencing. And I did not miss any of the major milestone moments like prom and graduation and things like that, but I didn't have a good time at them because I was really struggling to just be there. And at times really struggling to want to continue my life. So, almost missing 40 days of school, like usually that truancy pattern, um, the school will not let you graduate. But I did graduate on time. And that's because I used a lot of strategies to help me get through that really difficult time. I'm going to share them with you right now. So, strategy number 1 is to assemble your dream team. So, the first thing that we did after we reached out to a counselor, we had her recommend a psychiatrist to work with. I learned that depression and anxiety has been connected to cervical spine manipulation. So, I started working with a chiropractor. I sought spiritual guidance through one of my mentors and started reconnecting with my multi faith background. Um, I had our school social worker, counselor, um, really on my side, and I even got the vice principal involved, who was in charge of following the attendance. And I was really just open and honest with him about what was going on. And when I couldn't make it to school, I was still doing my homework. I wasn't just watching TV or like curled up in a ball in my bed, which sometimes I would have rather been like that. But I worked really hard to stay engaged in any way that I could, and they appreciated that. Um, anyway, so all the people that can possibly help you get through, reach out to them and tell them what's going on and see if they're open to helping you. Strategy 2, to be your own advocate. So if you're going through a crisis, people don't necessarily know what you need to get through that crisis. So you will have to be really brave and ask for exactly what you need. So here's a list of things that I asked for to feel safer at school and to help me get through. I got an individualized education plan. I let go of an AP class. I traded another class for a study hall just to kind of give me a breather during the day, and also be kind of in a smaller space with less people. I had a classmate tutor me after school on the days that I couldn't be at school. I asked for a permanent pass to the counseling office. That way, if I was starting to feel a panic attack coming on, I didn't have to, try and swallow it and squelch it in class. I didn't have to excuse myself to the bathroom and then not return for like 20 minutes. I could just discreetly show the pass to my teacher, go down, maybe talk to the social worker if she's available, or just kind of sit and be there. That really helped me a lot. And I ate lunch in a trusted teacher's office or classroom, sorry. So these things help me feel safer at school. So again, whatever you need to get through your crisis, ask someone what can be done to support you. People are around who want to help. Strategy number 3, take responsibility for what is in your control. During the time of mental health crisis, it's very common to feel out of control and to feel hopeless. But it's important to remember that there are things that we can affect and some things that only we can affect. So seeking help is in your control, and it's also your responsibility to yourself. If you feel that you're going through a difficult time more than just kind of a normal down, seeking help is something that you can do. Being proactive, asking people for their support, but also following through on the tips and advice that you get and seeking out information and answers for yourself, and taking care of yourself the best you can. There's a lot of information about the importance of self-care, and that often requires, critical thinking and decision making. And those things are in your control. The 4th strategy is to let go of what is not in your control. There are certain limitations that when you're in crisis, you simply can't be, how you normally are. I didn't want to let go of the AP class because I thought that it would look bad in my transcripts and I wanted to get into the best college and blah, blah, blah. And I spent so much time fretting over that. And honestly, I couldn't control that. I couldn't handle the course load at the time. I wasn't able to, participate in some of the things I wanted to be in. Like I stopped taking music lessons and I stopped participating on my soccer team because I was constantly exhausted and I didn't have the energy, and I was, having panic attacks all the time, and that stuff at the time just wasn't possible for me. So I spent a lot of energy kind of fighting that reality, but looking back, I wish that I would have just accepted the limitations that I had at the time and worked with what I had. Also out of your control is other people's perception of you. We really can't control what other people think of us. We can influence it, and it's very natural human, desire to be liked by lots of people, and to be appreciated and to be understood. And sometimes that doesn't happen, and that is frustrating. It can be hurtful, but it's also something that we cannot control. Next, this one's really important. If an adult fails you, look for help elsewhere. You might have an adult or two in your life who you really love and trust. And sometimes, if we go, not all the people that we love and trust are really equipped to help us go through difficult things. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Some people have had experience dealing with mental health issues, and some people don't get it because they haven't gone through it. They don't know anyone who has. They haven't been trained in that stuff. So if you've gone to an adult for help and it kind of falls flat, don't be discouraged. Keep looking for help and look elsewhere. Next strategy is to develop your ability to prioritize needs and set boundaries. So like I said, I was pretty frustrated with all the limitations in my abilities when I was in 12th grade, which is a year, very tumultuous and difficult year. And like I said, if I had asked myself the question, what do I need now? And how can I meet that need now? I think I would have had, an easier and more pleasant time navigating through the circumstances of that time. And also, I would have, meeting our own needs fills us with confidence, and that helps us overcome a lot of the discouraging and demoralizing aspects of dealing with mental illness. Next strategy is learn about your unique challenges and find solutions for managing symptoms. So, the first step is to understand what's going on with you. The question of why sometimes is not answerable, but if you understand what's happening, then you can look for strategies and tips and new habits that can help reduce the severity of symptoms in your life. Next strategy is to establish a regular routine that works for you. I really like the model of the basics. BASE is an acronym that stands for body care, achievement, connection, and enjoyment. So every day, we want to do body care. That's things like hygiene, getting dressed, movement, exercise, eating nutritiously. Achievement. So that's like staying engaged with your schoolwork, being engaged with other projects you've got going on outside of that. Keeping your brain involved in things that that you will achieve. Connection. This is our time of connecting with friends and family, and for some of us, a higher power. And enjoyment. Every day, find some time for leisure, fun, hobbies, things that make you feel happy. Next strategy is to focus on relationships that are high quality. So, high quality relationships are your true friends, family members that love you, trusted allies. If there's a person in your life who does not make you feel awesome, and you're going through a really difficult time, they can take a back seat for a while. You do not need to engage with them regularly. It's hard to remove people from our lives, but sometimes it's absolutely necessary. And I also want to say, if you have someone in your inner circle, like a close friend or a family member who does not make you feel awesome, please tell someone, especially if you feel like that person is abusing you in some way. And the last strategy is to really understand that healing takes time and to practice patience. When, in my experience of 12th grade, when every day was hell, I felt like giving up so many times because I wasn't seeing, the immediate 180 results that I wanted. But it had taken me a really long time to get that to that point of, an utter breakdown. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was also going to take time to reverse that and to heal. The things that got me through: perseverance, trial and error, and patience. Patience is it's a hard thing to learn when you're suffering, but it's also really important to help us keep our morale up and stay the course. So here are 5 additional tips to help with stress. I won't talk about these too much because I think you guys will be familiar with them. Get some sleep. Sleep is super important. At least 8 hours is recommended every night. Focus on your strengths. If you're going through a difficult time, literally write down all of your strengths, the things that you're really good at, and see how you can mobilize your strengths to work for you. Do things that make you happy, hack some of those feel-good neurotransmitters, get them flowing around your body. Engage in physical activity. That's one really good way to feel better. And talk to someone. We all need outlets. We all need people to listen to us. And so if you are, carrying a burden, you don't have to carry it by yourself. Reach out and tell someone. So my life today, I still live with mental illness, but I also have a thriving and satisfying life. I feel better today than I have ever felt ever. And I truly did not think that was possible. But these are the things that I do currently and will continue to do for the rest of my life that helps keep my symptoms at bay and helps me live a happy life. I take medication. I work regularly with a counselor. I focus on lifestyle wellness by eating a clean diet, getting regular exercise, and prioritizing sleep. I practice yoga and meditation at least once a week. I designed my schedule to be a balance of work, play, and rest. I found that that is very important. If I'm getting overworked or if I'm not engaged enough, that's kind of a trigger for my symptoms to emerge. And lastly, I've learned to practice self-compassion. And we are going to actually all practice together right now. I'm gonna turn off my video so you could just have this, cute little photo to look at while we are practicing this meditation. So let's begin this guided meditation. Bring yourself to a comfortable stillness. Begin to let go of tension and relax your body. Scan your body and see how it feels. Choose one area where you might feel tension and concentrate on breathing in relaxation. So as you inhale, see that area in your body fill up with this nourishing, healing breath. And as you exhale, let it all go. Let the tension float out of your body. Take a deep breath in and let that deep breath out. Notice with each breath how your body is softening. Your mind is slowing. And you're becoming more present and more aware. Bring to mind the fact that you want to be happy. You want to feel good. You want to be safe. You want to be healthy. Offer yourself silently these few phrases of self-compassion. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be at ease. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be at ease. Continue repeating these well wishes to yourself silently in your mind as you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. If you become distracted with other thoughts, notice that too. Let the thought float away as you return to your breath and you return to this mantra of self-compassion. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be safe. May I be at ease. With every repetition, feel your heart opening to yourself. And spend these last few moments in silent connection. Give yourself a few moments to come back to the here and now. Take a big breath in through your nose. Exhale, sigh it out the mouth. Bring some gentle movement to your fingers and toes. Circle your wrists and ankles. As you inhale, reach up overhead for a tall stretch. And exhale, lower the arms. Blink your eyes open if they haven't opened them already. So this was a very short guided meditation, but You can practice this as long as feels good. I also encourage you to look up self-compassion meditations on YouTube. There are so many of them, and a lot of them are amazing. All right, before we wrap up, here's a few resources if you would like to learn more about teen mental health. Mental Health America, SAMHSA, NIDA for Teens, Greater Good Science Center. This is the National Suicide Helpline. If you or someone you know is at risk of harming themselves, this number is, there's a trained crisis interventionist. It's 24/7 phone line, and it can be, you can call from anywhere in the United States to this number. On the YouTube page of my organization at Hazel Park CC, we have free yoga and meditation classes, including a self-compassion meditation that's similar to the one I walked you through today. And I gave a presentation called Meditation for Beginners. It can be accessed at this link. It's a very long, obnoxious link, and I'm sorry about that. But if you plug this into your browser, it will take you directly to the video. And that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much to the Student Wellness and Leadership Movement for including me in this really important seminar. I hope you guys get so much out of all of the sessions today. And if you'd like to contact me directly, my email address is here. Feel free to follow our coalition on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube for content about substance abuse prevention and mental health. And you can also visit our new website at hazelparkcc.org. So thank you all so much again, and have a great day.